let's get back to what's going on with the Warriors here. Let's take a look. What is the first priority this offseason? Scottie, we'll start with you.
Well, my first priority would be probably to go and talk with KD. I'm going to the hospital. I'm knocking at his door. I'm going in, and I'm going to make him very comfortable that he will be a Warrior for a long time.
Okay.
And after I'm done with that, I'm going next door, and I'm talking to Klay. And I'm going to let Klay know that he's going to be a Warrior for a long time.
Right.
The most important thing for me is for the Warriors to look down the road and not next season. And I think the pieces that you've lost, you have to keep them in place, and that being KD and Klay. And then when I'm done with those guys, I'm going to go talk to Draymond and make sure that he's comfortable and realizing that this is going to be a future home for him as well. But I think the run for this team is still there if they can keep those pieces together.
Yep. That's interesting. Nick, you cover this team as we mentioned. What do you think the priorities are for this team?
The first step is re-signing Klay. That's going to happen like that, guys. They're going to say, Klay, here's all your money. We love you. Get that knee right. You're ready to roll. That will be done early. With Kevin, the hope is that he feels comfortable in the system and he feels like this is the place where he can grow and get that Achilles in order. But to Scottie's point, this is the key. Everybody's wondering how the machinations of the next few weeks will go for the Warriors. Klay and KD are going to get every cent that they want if they want to stay. If they want all the money, they're going to get the guaranteed years and everything that comes with it. Then the next step is you take everybody's pulse and say, all right, what do we want to do this coming year? We want to make sure everybody's fresh and ready for the following season. This team is too proud to just punt a year completely.
Right.
Because you still have healthy Steph, healthy Draymond, you still have Steve Kerr, Andre Iguodala is back for at least one more year. But they know that if you get your pieces in place and you get them healthy with Klay and Kevin, assuming they were to re-sign, that you're ready to roll again in a year. But you have to get mentally and physically right. And guys, being around them every day, what got lost in the shuffle of all these injuries in the series against Toronto. Scottie, you can speak to this. You go to 5 finals in a row. The mental grind is exhausted.
Right.
And this team right now is exhausted. They are proud and they feel terrible that they lost, but mentally they need a year to get back right and get all their major guns in place and healthy.
Scottie, you three-peated twice. You mentioned Draymond earlier. Draymond going into, he'll play next season, and then that'll be going into a contract year in that spot. How do you balance that? Nick brought up, not punting the season, but trying to make sure you balance those guys and keep them fresh, him and Steph. But with Draymond particularly, trying to go for a contract, how does that work?
Well, I think Draymond and Steph is going to take next season the series as they would if Klay and KD were there. They're going to be trying to win a title, and they're going to give their best effort, and they're going to show that their leadership is very valuable. Expect Draymond to have a great season. Again, he's playing for a contract, but again, they're not going to punt the season away. But if I'm the Warriors, I'm looking down the road, and I'm not looking at next season. You can't compete with what's out there based on the fact that you lost 2 of your stars.
All right, more faith. The Lakers or the Warriors? Scottie Pippen.
I got to say the Lakers.
Okay. 2 top 6 players in the league?
Yeah, they're a team, and I think even with Kuz, Kyle Kuzma, who we haven't even spoke of, he's a up and young coming player. He's going to be better this season, and I think we will realize that the Lakers probably have their big 3 already, and we just haven't seen it on the floor yet.
That's interesting. How do you feel about this particular question? Who do you have more faith in right now, the Warriors or the Lakers?
I would have to say the Lakers as well, just because the Warriors are viewing this season as a get everybody right here.
So you don't think that, because Steph is certainly capable of this, right? Like Steph could have a James Harden kind of year and lead the league in scoring and carry them in that regard. So you don't think that's even plausible?
I don't for this reason, George. The Warriors are going to look at that schedule when it comes out in a couple months, and they're going to say, hey, Steph, it's probably not the best idea for you to play in all the back-to-backs when there's a couple weeks of heavy stretches. Why don't you take a game off and just get your body in order so that potentially when Klay comes back in March, assuming his rehab goes well, they can make a push in the postseason. Can you imagine seeing the Warriors with Steph, Draymond healthy, and Klay, assuming he's ready to roll? Nobody would want to see them. But the key is the structure and the load management. That is what you're going to hear a lot about from the Warriors' perspective going into next year.
And I think that's important because I think this past season we saw a Warrior team that's had a long run.
Right.
I watched the Lakers in 1990 when we played against them. They were beat up. They had a lot of injuries. We kind of walked in based on their injuries to that championship. And that's kind of what happened when we look back this season. Toronto was able to beat up on a depleted Golden State team. So I think it's important for them to not allow Steph to get hurt. They're going to need him in the long run.